all you sports go out there in the state of Michigan and throughout whoever's watching. I am Brian, and today we are here with the Hackel Sports Talk. Eric's not here today, sadly, but in my opinion, I feel like he had a little step up today.
As we are accompanied by Macomb County Executive and former Sheriff of Macomb County, Mr. Mark Hackel. Mark, thank you for coming today. We appreciate it.
Gentlemen, I love it.
So before we get into the hot seat headlines, we got some sports questions for you because we know you're a big sports guy. Did you play any sports in high school?
You know, I played many sports. My favorite was wrestling. I was a wrestler. I was a first
Really?
team all-county, first team all-conference, captain of my wrestling team. So I was a big-time wrestler in Macomb County. Actually, I went to more consolidated schools. I went to Sterling Heights High School. So, but right now I'm wearing. I'm tired.
I mean, coming from Aaron's question, do you now play any sports in your free time?
You know what? I'm one of those. I love basketball. I love running. I'm starting to play hockey a little bit because my nephew plays hockey and he's with us now. So Jeffrey's big in hockey, so I'm in hockey. I coach flag football. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. So avid runner. I've run the Boston Marathon. I've run many races.
Okay.
And kind of I got a good background in sports. I kind of grew up on sports.
So, wow. And you probably know a lot of athletes out there now. Who would you think is your favorite one?
My favorite all-time athlete out of any sport that's out there is number 51 for the Chicago Bears, Dick Butkus. He was probably one of the toughest, meanest, baddest dudes out there on the field, and he played with passion each and every time. He brought his game face on every time he played. So he is my all-time favorite sports athlete.
Now, is there an athlete that you despise or just do not like at all?
You know, it's like not so much despise. It's some of them. I think that just kind of have an attitude, towards the game and towards the people. And I'll say that I just go with like a Bill Lambier. I know he's a favorite of many people, but how he treated the public off the court and wouldn't sign autographs and everything. I seen it firsthand, and that was kind of disrespectful. And you can't be like that if you're going to be a high-paid, high-profile sports athlete. You got to be somebody that's going to want to engage with the crowd on a continuous basis. Not just have them come pay to watch you and not at least give them a little bit of love or attention.
Yeah,
that's a great reason.
Well, because you are the county executive or commissioner of county, if you will, if you had a choice between either being the commissioner of the NFL, NBA, NHL, or Major League Baseball, which league would you choose and why?
Yeah, I'd go with the NFL. I mean, I love football. I mean, how do you not? Even though we don't have a winning team here in Michigan, our Detroit Lions. Every year at the beginning of the year, it's like I get so excited and we're all hopeful. We're praying, that they're going to make it through. Unfortunately, halfway through the season, we're somewhat disappointed. But they're hopeful they at least get close to making a playoff. But for the most part, I think without question, my favorite is football.
So with that, what's your favorite sport to watch and talk about with people?
Actually, my favorite one to watch is, as weird as it might sound, I tell you, football is my favorite sport. Basketball. I love watching basketball, in particular college basketball.
Yes.
I don't like watching all the overpaid, high-priced, NBA games or whatever. I'll watch them specifically when it comes to the playoffs. But right now, March Madness is coming up, and don't come near me. Don't bother me when a game's on. It's like I don't want to have conversation. I am in tune to that game, and so I get excited about it. I get to ask who my favorite team is.
Who is it?
It's going to break some hearts here, I just know it, but I'm a Michigan fan, okay? So I'm a Michigan fan. I'm a Wolverine fan. But now I'm going to break all of your hearts, because my true favorite is Duke. My man, Duke.
Come on now.
Man. Coach K, he was one of the greatest all-time coaches, man.
I completely agree with you.
That's funny, because we've been arguing the entire month leading up to this tournament, State against Duke, and
Game too.
it's been unbelievable.
It's going to be a crazy bracketing. I'm telling you, I doubt anybody's going to make it through the first round and having a successful, a unblemished
season
bracket.
There's no clear winner, I can say. So yeah, I agree. It's going to be all crazy this tournament.
It's up for grabs.
Well, speaking of brackets, we were going to fill out the Big 12 and Big East brackets later on the show, but before that, we got our hot seat headlines as always. The Oscars were this past Sunday. And Kobe Bryant's Dear Basketball wins an Oscar. I mean, what has the man done in his career? I mean, he's got 5 NBA championships. Now he's got an Oscar to boot. So, what do you think of this? Is it a big deal or is it?
I mean, I guess it's a big deal. I didn't even know what the Dear Basketball was. I had no idea what it was. I just heard Kobe won an Oscar, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Good for him. So.
I guess,
I think
full disclosure. I
for
didn't
some
see it
people
either.
it's a big deal, and for some people it's not. Like for some people it's like really cool to see that Kobe can do basketball and win an Oscar. But then with the allegations that Kobe has been through in the past, like for all the stuff that happened to him, like with the rape, some people did not like the fact that he did win that. Just because I could see some people in the crowd didn't clap for him or like acknowledge his like winning. So
Right.
for some people it just depends on how you feel about Kobe. But to me, I think it's a great accomplishment for him.
What do you think of this, Mark?
Yeah, I didn't see it, full disclosure, but, admittedly so. I mean, people that make those decisions, they're making it based upon a multitude of factors, whether it's concerns about what people might feel about it, think about it. The performance is, I think, what really sends it over the top. And so, hey, congratulations, credit to him. He won an Oscar.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I know I'm a golfer. I don't know if you are a golfer, but Phil Mickelson won his first tourney since 2013 in Mexico this past weekend. Does the 47-year-old golfer still have one more major win left in him?
Nah,
Really?
I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Not a Masters, not the U.S. Open, British Open.
I think his days are past him. I think he's still struggling. He's still trying, but I just don't see it happening. And again, I was one of those avid fans. Loved to watch him out there, but the reality is his days are, his prime is past. So I don't see it happening.
Well, as long as he's going to continue to golf, he still can go to the Masters and the British Open because he's won those tournaments.
And he brings an
So-
incredible interest. To the game.
Oh, yeah.
When he's playing, more people are tuned in to watch, and so more people are interested in golf. When he's not there, it's a whole different dynamic. Everybody's wondering, okay, who's the new person that we want to follow or support?
Yeah, and everyone's still following Mickelson, and he's the nicest.
What a gentleman.
Yeah, he's such a
What
nice
gentleman.
player.
It's a Jack Nicholson, Arnold Palmer era type of personality.
Yeah.
In today's time.
So the NFL Combine is going on, and it's just wrapping up. Is it overrated or is it underrated? Brian, we'll start with you.
In a sense, I feel like it's overrated because they do the most difficult tasks to test these players to see how they can survive in the NFL. But one part that I don't see overrated is the Shaquem Griffin combine. The
Oh, yeah.
the linebacker from UCF with only the one right hand, amputated left hand. He's doing amazing. I think he should be up there like high, maybe 4th round, 5th round, and showing what he did in the combine, benching at least more than 20 reps, more than some of the other people can do, and being able to run one of the fastest times a linebacker has since like 10 years ago. I think he should be a great pick in the NFL, and the combine proved that. So I don't think it's really that overrated.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't really know because I don't watch it. I don't
Oh,
pay
there
attention
you go.
to it. So.
There's your answer. It's
There's your
overrated.
answer. I agree with him. It's overrated, in my opinion. People are making such a big deal out of these guys. I mean, we'll make a big deal out of it when they become drafted and what they can do in training camp, in the preseason, in the regular season if they start. So as of now, the combine, it's overrated. It's just a testament to see where these guys are going to end up going. So.
And I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think it's just one of those things that's good for show. Not many people really do watch it. I don't really pay attention until you hear certain things like you were just mentioning. That dude's a beast. I mean, let's face it. I mean, his abilities. But it's going back to they're going to pick players based upon their performances, what they think, how it fits their team, not because of the results of the combine. Not going to be the real reason.
And as we talked about earlier in previous shows, Kirk Cousins is now down. He's not down to 4 teams. He's down to 2, as I heard latest, between Minnesota and New York.
New York.
The Jets. Yep.
Wow.
It's still up. He posted yesterday on Twitter saying, first time I'm free since 2007. Anybody got any suggestions? So I think the possibility for him going to Denver is still a possibility. It's possible.
Of course.
That team needs him. If Kirk Cousins goes to Minnesota, the Lions are doomed in the NFC North. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. Cousins in Minnesota, Rodgers in Green Bay, Mitch Trubisky, that's developing in Chicago. I mean, the Lions we're going to be in trouble. There's no doubt.
Talking about the Lions are going to be in the Super Bowl next year. Man, come on.
That says
Get
all the
it
time.
going.
That's what he says all the time.
Come on, you
Gotta
heard
stay
it here
optimistic.
first. You heard it here first. So.
Well, that's division play. But if he goes to Denver, I think Denver will become a Super Bowl contender. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
So-
well, it's going to depend. It depends on his mix, with the wide receivers. Does he fit that type of an offense? So, who knows where he's going to end up? But credit to him, I'll tell you, he's come a long way. There was a stagnant part in his career where we weren't sure hearing about Kirk Cousins, and then all of a sudden, boom, he comes out of nowhere, and now people are interested in wanting to have him on their team and pay some good money for him.
Where do you think he's going to go?
I think he is going to go to Minnesota probably. I just have that feeling because they have those 3 quarterbacks and they don't want any of them. So like they're pretty much just making room for Kurt to come. So.
And you know what? He's got that old Fran Tarkenton style. You guys probably don't remember that. Fran Tarkenton was a great quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings many years ago. Back when I was a kid, he was one of my favorites because he was one of those guys that could move around. He was like a little squirrel. He could get out there, but he wasn't looking for the long bomb. He was looking for the short passes, move the team up the field. He's kind of got that Fran Tarkenton style. So it'd be interesting to see if they can bring that back.
It'll be interesting. Well, they made a pretty good run. They made it to the NFC Championship last year.
Of course, with Case Keenum.
Yeah, but Denver's probably the best choice for him because he's got the receivers, he's got the running backs, he's got a pretty good defense. But Minnesota's defense is really good. If he goes to New York, he'll get the money, just no receivers, no backs. Not a winning team. So we'll see. We'll keep covering as we go along. And back to our Kawhi Leonard conundrum part 3. Now, he's still trying to come back, but now his negotiations with Jordan are shut down. He probably won't be returning to Jordan anymore.
I have to agree with you. Just everything that's going on this season, now we got to hear about he won't even sign with the shoe deal now.
Oh, I know. It's
Drama,
exactly.
Yeah, it's drama, and I'm hoping he comes back, he dominates for the Spurs because that's my team, and just in limited minutes. As I said before.
Full
yeah, you can't do that to him. And if you have him playing full minutes as he used to in the past, the last 10 games getting ready for the playoffs, the Spurs can make a little bit of a run.
Well, they definitely need him to come back because that whole Western Conference, the whole I want to say 3 through 9 seed is decided by 2 games.
Yeah, it's 3
so
through 10.
So if he comes back,
yeah.
I feel like
it's ridiculous.
He's going to separate themselves from everyone else, and then they'll be fine in the playoffs. But they need him back.
What do you think of it? You don't care about Kawhi. You just care about your Lakers. And
Pistons too. Can't
and your Pistons.
But Lonzo especially. Right?
Oh, please don't.
KCP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please don't from last week. With Lonzo hitting all those threes against my Spurs. Come on.
I mean, we had to say that. It was yours. We had to say that.
That was horrible.
You guys, let's face it. Kawhi Leonard is why you watch college basketball. That's the reason why. I mean, this NBA stuff, the drama that goes on, the overpriced players. This is why you watch college basketball.
And
I love watching college basketball. Exactly.
And it's March, and the madness is almost here. Well, it's here because we've had some upsets already in conference tournaments, but we'll get to it a little bit. What do you got for Big Baller Brand?
You're not referring to the Big Ten tournament, are you? Because that wasn't an upset. That was.
Well, we'll get to that.
I mean, that was not an upset. I mean, that was.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Come on, man.
Well, you see, I had some notes. And then I spilled some water, so they got wet, so I had to throw them away. But I do have something for baseball. Ichiro finally signed the 1-year deal with the Mariners, and I do believe this will be his final year.
You've been saying about that all day, but I mean,
he did. He signed.
No, you say he's going to end it, and then he'll be retired.
He is because he's starting with the team, that drafted him or signed him or whatever. Now he's ending with them, so it just makes sense.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So.
And that's all I got because my notes.
That's all right. Last week we were predicting the girls' state playoffs for high school basketball, and Fraser unfortunately went down 37-26 over Cosno. And in the second game, Sterling Heights, in a high-scoring game, beat Warrenwood Tower 59-57 in a pretty good game. Then the championship, it wasn't even close.
Yes.
Warren Cosno won 57-14 over Sterling Heights, which, is your former school.
Breaks my heart. However, I know some of the young ladies. I know their parents that are playing for Cosno. So credit to the Patriots.
They were a great team.
Yes.
But Fraser's only losing 3 seniors, and we're 5. Oh, that's right. We have 5. We're losing 5 seniors. All the rest of them are juniors. As we said, at least Vitale, Isabel Grillo, and Sarah Shornack will
carry the team.
Oh yeah, they'll be the big 3 next year. There's no doubt. So, and Cosno is going to be playing against Stevenson in the regional. So, hoping them going far. And now, since Eric's not here today,
that's probably good he's not here.
Yeah, it's kind of good that he's not here because De La Salle kind of beat him 69-32 the other night in the playoffs.
I don't think it was that bad.
Well, the first quarter wasn't bad.
Scoring-wise, yeah.
Scoring-wise, yeah.
But it was close in the beginning. They did hold him off in the first quarter, but then they just weren't able to hold him off.
And unfortunately, Cosno beat Sterling Heights 51-50 at the buzzer in the district.
I'm okay with that, as long as it's not wrestling.
Yeah. So it's been an interesting year. So we'll wait, and then once the spring sports starts, we'll be covering those. So now for NBA Friday night. we got Houston at Toronto.
It's going to be an amazing
After
game.
Houston's big win over Boston, I like Houston in this one.
I'm going to have to go with Toronto. In my opinion,
Okay.
I feel like their bench is just so much more deeper than Houston when it comes to the long run. And then, again, DeMar and Kyle Lowry. And Jonas Valanciunas is also having a great year, too. I'm going to have to go with Toronto.
I'm going with Houston.
I'm gonna go with the future MVP, James Harden, and the
Wow,
Rockets.
okay.
I'm with you on that. That's again, you got that leadership there, so I think Houston pulls it through for the very same reason. He's the man.
And then we hit in the second game, we have Golden State at Portland.
Okay, move on. We know it's Golden.
Everyone's saying Golden State.
Golden State.
Anthony Davis has been a man on a mission lately for New Orleans. So, they're hosting the Wizards. This is tough. I got to go New Orleans because Anthony Davis is playing so well the last couple of weeks.
Again, what Ben said about James Harden, now the New Orleans have their leadership in Anthony Davis. I'm going to agree with you, New Orleans.
New Orleans?
Gotta go with Davis.
I'm gonna sleep through that one. So neither one of those teams. It's not of interest, but yeah, probably New Orleans is gonna pull it off. But it's one of those. I'll change the channel.
All right. So, and now back to you just bumping Brian over Michigan beating Michigan State because we're going to end college basketball here.
What an amazing game!
It was an amazing game.
Amazing game.
They were all chipping at each other throughout the whole game to show how much they wanted to win.
I like I like Michigan teams. I don't care, but I'll support them all. But man, almighty, Michigan they're on a mission right now. They are.
It seems like Michigan State is not. They're not playing as a team.
Yeah.
At Bridges, I don't know what's been going on with, absolute investigation with Bridges and all that, and it's got to be in his head. But you got to ask all your other role players like Jared Jackson, Cassius Winston, Josh Langford to step up, and they haven't.
Yeah.
They barely got by Wisconsin.
You got to wonder
twice.
the controversy though, that's going on around Michigan State. I mean, that's a heavy burden. You wonder if they're wearing or feeling that burden. Because you started to see some of this happening. They knew about it before it really hit the media and people talking about it. But man, they've been taking a beating. With
Especially
the
Tom Izzo, with all the questions he's been asking, he has to say, "Oh, we're just going to talk about basketball." Now he's going to wait for the perfect time to talk about that. That has to be in him too. So
and
yeah,
then high-profile stories on ESPN.
Mhm.
Talking about it, talking about Michigan State and University. I mean, it's sad. Unfortunately, someday it'll start to fade off as far as the high-profile nature of it. But it's tough for those kids. Having to sit there and play through all that. It's controversial.
Yeah, I mean, if Michigan State would have beaten Michigan and probably beaten Purdue in that game, they would have been the 1 seed, no doubt. But now, thinking that they're going to drop to a 2 or 3 seed,
I feel like I agree with
and
you.
Michigan's going to shoot up to a 5 or a 4 seed.
They're both 3-seeders. I'm going to bet you both Michigan and Michigan State
wow.
get 3 seeds. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, because they're good.
What do you think?
For seeds?
Yeah. What do you think State Michigan's going to go?
Sounds good. Probably 3 seeds. It sounds like it.
Yeah, they'll be 3
Just
seeds.
the way Michigan was playing at the end of the season, though. That's why they'd probably be that high.
Yeah, they've earned it.
Yeah. And then we already have tickets punched already for the big dance. Murray State won the Ohio Valley Conference, beating Belmont 68-51, the title game. Loyola Chicago, Drew Valentine, used to be assistant coach for Oakland here. Assistant coach there. They won the NVC Conference by beating Illinois State. Lipscomb won the Atlantic Sun by beating Florida Gulf Coast.
That was a crazy game. I caught
They
that end of
almost-
the game.
That's another game that hurt Aaron.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast is one of my sleepers. Yeah, they're one of my sleepers. I was really hoping they would pull that 32-point.
They would have.
They cut it to 8 at that point in that game. But good for Lipscomb. They won. It's their first tournament appearance ever in their school's history, so good for them. And as we said, Michigan knocked off State, and Purdue won back-to-back Big Ten championships. And Iona beat Fairfield 83-71 in the MAAC championship. So now we are going to, as we did last week, we're going to fill out first the...
Did we talk about Duke yet? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
I would love to talk about Duke all the time, believe me.
I'm kind of throwing it out there.
We're going to fill out the big...
This guy.
Well, I mean, I can't stand Duke, so...
That's why I always like to bring it up.
Just to get under, just to make me mad.
That's
So,
what friends do.
oh yeah, so we're gonna fill out the Big 12 bracket first, starting tonight with Oklahoma State against Oklahoma and Trae Young.
Well, Trae Young going
Trae
down
Young's
and
been-
Oklahoma's been going down. Oklahoma State's been on fire pretty much lately, so I'm sorry. I know I was at first with Trae Young, but I'm going to go with Oklahoma State now.
I'm with you, Brian. Oklahoma, they're struggling. And Trae Young just hasn't done nothing, so I say OK State wins.
Upset. I'm going with Oklahoma in this one.
Wow.
I'm doing number 9 too. I'm going
Thank you.
Oklahoma. I'm telling
And
you, Trey's going to come through. I tell you,
Yep.
I mean, it's a big time. He'll be.
I would love to see that happen. I'm not
Oh,
saying
yeah.
that at all.
Whatever.
I am hoping that too.
And then in the second game,
I'm going to predict by 10 too.
we have your Texas Longhorns
Yes, sir.
against
Um,
number 10 Iowa State. I have a feeling who you're taking.
Well, it's behind here if you can't see, but
I'm just ready.
hook 'em.
I'm gonna go with Texas as well.
I'm taking Texas as well to meet up with Texas Tech.
You
That'd be
don't think
great.
Texas wants to be playing Texas Tech? They are going to fight. They're going
Oh.
to. They definitely want to be in that matchup. So it's Texas.
All right. So all shooting all the way up to the quarterfinals tomorrow. Kansas State against Texas Christian. This is a toss-up because the seedings are so close, which means they're pretty good teams. I'm gonna go with
I'm going with the upset. I'm going with TCU.
Yep.
I'll go with Kansas State in that one.
I'll stick with you on Kansas.
All right, and then we have Oklahoma next up with number 1
I mean,
Kansas.
Kansas is having a great year.
Yeah, but
too.
you don't have that answer yet. You don't know who's going to win that one. You got to wait for the outcome.
Yeah.
Whoever is going to be Kansas.
Yeah. But if it's for me,
I think you're going to end up with Kansas.
I agree.
yep, I would take Kansas against Oklahoma in my bracket.
Whoever it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then you got to go with Texas Tech.
Yeah, you gotta go Texas. I'm sorry, Ben.
And
Sorry,
Said
Ben.
it again.
You don't have to.
welcome.
You don't have to.
Yep.
He's going with Texas Tech. I mean Texas.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
of course.
sir.
Of course, Ben's gonna go with Texas. It'll be an upset. And then the bottom one, West Virginia against Baylor.
I'm sorry. I think West Virginia's been overrated this whole season.
Nope, I'm going with West Virginia.
I as well.
I got the Baylor Bears.
I agree with you, Ben. Another upset.
And then in the semifinals, on March 9th, I got Kansas State against Kansas. I gotta go with Kansas.
Kansas.
I mean,
again.
Kansas
No
is
matter
a
who they play, I
powerhouse.
think Kansas is going to go all the way.
Yeah, they're gonna make it all the way to the Big 12 championship. And then I got West Virginia as well.
So do I. Kansas, West Virginia, in that finals.
And
Kansas
then I got the upset. I got West Virginia. And
Wow. West Virginia over Kansas. What's your input on that?
Because they just got the momentum going. They have to prove that they belong in the big dance. So they got to jack their seedings up by winning this conference. So and then we have the Big East. Starting tonight, we have Georgetown and St. John's.
I'm going with the upset, St. John's.
I'm going to go with the upset as well.
I'm the opposite here. I got to go Georgetown. Georgetown, then Xavier. Then at the bottom, we got Marquette against DePaul. DePaul almost beat.
Villanova.
Yeah,
I mean,
they look
they
like.
proved they can play in the big games against the tough opponents.
Well,
so
Marquette has shown that they can too. So
it's your toss-up on who you think will be better that day. I'm going to go with DePaul.
I'm gonna go with Marquette.
I'm going with DePaul. I'm going the upset again.
Well, it's March, so and then I got Georgetown against Xavier. I gotta go with Xavier, the outright Big East champions.
I got to go with Xavier as well.
That is who will end up pulling that off.
So and then we have Creighton against Providence again, just like in the Big 12. Two teams that are really
They both
close.
had great seasons so far. Pretty much similar teams when it comes to that.
I gotta go with the upset. I gotta go Providence because I don't think Creighton can get it done.
I'm going to go with Providence as well.
I don't think
'Cause
that
I believe
they-
at one point they were raked in the regular season.
I'm with Creighton, guys. Creighton's in it.
All right.
They got it.
Then I have Marquette against Villanova. I gotta go with the Wildcats because they are going to make a huge run not only in the Big 12
It is.
or the Big East, excuse me, but in the Big Dance as well. And then I have Seton Hall against Butler. Butler's always a sleeper, so
Oh, there is a sleeper. I'm going to go with Butler.
I'm gonna go with Butler as well.
I went with Seton.
Oh, what do you got over there?
I got Butler.
Oh.
Mm.
Then then the semis, I got Xavier, and then in the bottom I got Villanova.
That's
As much
gonna
as
be-
I want to take Butler in that one, I have to go with Villanova.
If it turns out to be a championship game right here, this is going to be a great game to watch.
Oh, it'll be an excellent game to watch on the 10th. And
You guys are going to hate me. I'm going to go with the upset.
I'm going with
I'm going to go with Xavier.
Xavier, even though
Ooh.
going into that game, Villanova's gonna be looking like the favorite.
If they will, I
So-
agree.
Zoom in,
What?
I already signed him. Okay.
Ooh.
This is it. The last one. That's it.
Well, he's got Xavier and he's got
Kansas.
Kansas winning the whole thing. So we are done with the sports as you
You're in
know.
Vegas.
bet on it.
So now we know that you're, as we said, as we talked about today, you're a big sports guy, but with you being the county executive, politics is what you do for a living. And we have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
I mean, again, with you being the county executive and this winter being crazy with all the roads being so bad in Macomb County this year, what's the plan to fix all of these potholes? Also, are taxes going to be due to all pothole fixes?
Well, you know what? I think you need a state legislature to be sitting here to answer that question, and I say that for this reason. The 790 road miles in Macomb County that need to be fixed out of 1,500, well over 51% of the roads that need to be fixed, has been a progressive issue over the years. And if you think it's bad now, wait the next couple of months and what you're going to see as far as these potholes. The state legislature has failed to come up with funding for decades to deal with this issue, and I say that for this reason. They talk about, and people are probably listening and saying, but didn't we just raise the gas tax? Didn't we just raise your vehicle registration fees? That was for a $600 million fund to help raise money for roads. There's another $600 million that they said was going to come out of future revenue from the state budget. Never have they ever done that before, where they promise future legislatures money out of a budget. That isn't going to happen. They just did tax cuts, and now they've got to figure out how they're dealing with school issues, substance abuse, mental health. You're never going to see that $600 million. So we're still stuck with this one $600 million promise that they gave us. But what people don't realize is, with that money that you're paying out of your I guess you will, new gas tax as well as your vehicle registration tax, they took $400 million out of that to replace money that they borrowed for the last decade. So that wasn't new money. So you're left with $200 million. What does $200 million mean across the state under Act 51? If you start to distribute that, what it means for Macomb County is $4.5 million. And what does $4.5 million get you for new construction of a road? About 1.5 miles, 2 miles of a 2-lane road. And I've got over 790 miles of road in Macomb County to fix. It is doing nothing but exacerbating the problem. So they just come up with another $175 million to help us deal with this winter. And why do you get the $175 million from the state legislatures? Put it through the formula once again. Macomb County gets, although we have 8.6% of the population, 2.5% of the money means another $4.5 million, which is another 1.5 miles, 2 miles of a 2-lane road. So what is that money really doing for us right now? Filling potholes. It's not fixing a problem. So that's $4 million worth of money that is going directly into a hole. But the reason they expedited that for this year was a very simple reason. It's because they realize how agitated, how aggravated people are that the legislature isn't solving this problem, that we're prepared to fix those roads if the money comes in, but there's an election coming up. So what they want you to realize is, well, if we can just fill those potholes, make it good through this, I guess if you will, this season, maybe we can get by because there's an election coming up and people will be quiet. They'll reelect us and then we can ignore the problem into the future as well. As the executive branch, whether it's the governor, whether it's an executive and or a board of commissioners, or you got a local mayor or township supervisor, their job is to fix the roads. Legislative responsibility is provide funding. So if they're going to provide the funding, we'll get the job done because I know exactly how much each road costs to fix here in Macomb County. I know the cost of it, and I could bid those projects out tomorrow. But there's got to be the money available to do that, and that is a legislative responsibility. But they have failed to do it because they're worried more about getting reelected than they are solving the #1 public issue or concern, and that's roads and public safety.
And it's been kind of a bumpy driving overall,
It's awful.
especially
It's
me and
ungodly.
Brian, because Ben doesn't have his license yet. But for me and Brian, just driving all over, it's horrible. It's horrible, especially seeing all these people on the news with all their front ends gone and their tires are gone.
And I'm tired of admiring the problem. I mean, we've been talking
yeah.
about this for 7 years, and if you think this year is bad, next year is going to be 10 times worse. They said it's a $1.2 billion fix. As I mentioned, I know the cost of every one of the roads in Macomb County. Total cost of the 780 miles of roads in Macomb County is $1.2 billion to fix. And here they're saying we just came up with $1.2 billion to fix state roads. That didn't happen. There's that money. They're woefully inadequate. We are probably the least funded, state in the entire country when it comes to per capita funding for roads. They're not doing it. What are they doing with our money? I don't know, but I can tell you this: it's not coming to your local DPWs. It's not coming to the county. It's not coming to MDOT to fix the roads. Because if we had the money, we'd bid out those contracts and have those roads fixed tomorrow. I got Mound Road over there between Warren
God.
and Sterling Heights. That road itself is a $217 million price tag.
Oh,
Guess how much I have slated or available to fix that road? Nothing.
Nothing.
There's no money available to fix that road. And you keep talking to the legislature and screaming, let's do something about it. What do they say? People say to me, well, what should we do? If I were the governor of the state of Michigan, what I would be saying to the legislators, you know what, quit coming to me with your political priorities, because the public's priorities are very simple. Public roads, public education, dealing with substance abuse, mental health issues, this opioid crisis, those are priorities for the public. So the governor, what he should be able to say is, you know what, don't come to me with another bill for me to sign unless it's dealing with the people's priorities rather than your political priorities. I wouldn't sign another piece of legislation unless it was specific about funding for roads, and then let's address the others. Then we can get to your pet projects or your political projects, if you will.
Oh, yeah. So,
And then it's sad to hear and know about all the events that happen in Parkland, Florida, and there was even threats in our school and all schools around the county, well, not around the county, but all around the nation as well. Is there a safety plan to secure the safety for the students in schools in Macomb County?
I work with all school superintendents and have even when I was a sheriff. In fact, even beyond, when I was an officer working for the department. And I know the schools do have in mind not only the education of the children, but the safety of the children. So there's no question, by the way, whether it's Fraser High School or any high school in Macomb County or even the state of Michigan for that matter, they do understand, take a look at and review all the time about their safety procedures and work with law enforcement. We have one of the greatest ISD systems in the entire state of Michigan that work with your superintendent. So I'm confident that they're continuously trying to figure it out. The problem is, I think you got people that, sometimes, even us, we need to own responsibility. And I say that for this reason. Kids need to realize even those threats and those, somebody puts a phone, they call in and they drop a message down, or now I'm hearing people are putting like a bullet someplace or they're scribbling on a wall. Those are some serious offenses, and they don't realize where that's going to end up. I mean, it takes a lot of resources to investigate it, while everybody else is nervous and in a panic and putting pressure on law enforcement and schools to solve these problems and how do we protect our children. So when we do find the person that's responsible for it, even if it is just a joke, because it's not always a bad kid that does that, they don't realize the impact that has. I mean, that is a felony charge, and you are going to not only get removed from that school or the educational system, you are going to be charged with a crime for that joke, or maybe it's not a joke and you're thinking about it, you are going to end up getting arrested for it. People then say to me, well, what should we do in owning responsibility? It's situational awareness. Probably the simplest thing I could tell everybody from my experience in law enforcement is paying attention to what's going on around you, seeing things, and if you see something that's out of sorts, whether it's social media, you see something that just doesn't make sense, or you're walking into the school and somebody looks like they shouldn't be someplace that they are, or a vehicle, whatever, bring it to the attention of a trusted adult, whether it's a teacher, your superintendent, maybe a school resource officer. Bring it to their attention and say, hey, something looked odd, something looked weird. Don't just ignore it or let it go, because in law enforcement, information is power, and it's key to helping us resolve things, prevent things from happening. But if somebody's going to bring it to our attention, it's hard for us to do anything. So that situational awareness, we could talk about putting more security at the front doors. We could talk about cameras inside the school, all these things, preventative opportunities. But I'm going to tell you, if people aren't owning the responsibility on a daily basis, whether it's the kids in the school, parents, and others who see things that just aren't right or noticing it and not bringing it to somebody's attention, that really sets us back. And that, I think, is what we need more of, people bringing things to our attention.
So what's going to happen to the old Gibraltar Trade Center?
the old Gibraltar
Old
Trade
Gibraltar?
Center.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gibraltar, I'm not sure, really. I think we got a couple options, but again, that's the developer that owns that property is going to have to make that determination as to what they're going to do with it. So, we're fortunate. We've got a lot happening. Amazon coming to Shelby Township, an incredible facility, a 1 million square foot facility. I couldn't even, somebody said it was a 1 million square foot facility. I couldn't wrap my head around what the heck is a 1 million square foot facility. But now I get out there and I see the actual structure being built or whatever, and it blows your mind. 1,000 jobs. You got the Cabela's that just came out here. I mean, that's a destination location out there. The Jimmy John's baseball field, that we got here in our own backyard, and many more developments and things that are taking place. Pretty exciting. We got some great things happening in the county, investments. Gibraltar is another prime opportunity for something to come there. We're going to continue to work to see if there's something we can leverage as a county to help allure a company there. But what specifically, I'm not sure. And interesting enough, we're living in pretty much, when you think about it economically, what could be summarized as probably the best of times here in Macomb County. And we're celebrating our 200th year anniversary in this county, as a county, but yet we're failing to deal with some of the most problematic issues. And I think it's because, we're not seeing enough effort put in by legislators that are willing to actually address the issues, as opposed to just kind of dodge the issues. And that's become somewhat of a problem for us.
And is there anything new or exciting coming to Macomb County, like anything for like teenagers or like all ages?
I think we've got some exciting stuff that's happening with our metro parks. We've been pretty successful at luring, more attractions in. In fact, the zoo, I love this. The Detroit Zoo, we pay the millage to help support the zoo, and everybody loves the zoo. But the Zoological Authority has now come to Macomb County and said, you know what, we want to create an actual, if you will, kind of a nature center aquarium out here dealing with freshwater. It's actually going to have, inside of this place, you're going to see a freshwater aquariums of all the native species, if you will, that are in our waterways in the Great Lakes, right out here in Macomb County. And I'll get ahead of it. We're looking at site selection, but one of the ones I'm pushing for is Lake St. Clair Metro Park. Right out on the beachfront, it's going to be an incredible asset. Myself and Candace Miller, who sits on the board, she's also our Public Works Commissioner, are working with the Zoological Authority to make this become a reality. And to me, that's exciting stuff. And creating more trails and access for recreation are things that we're doing here in Macomb County as well.
And because of the sinkhole we had last year in Fraser, is there any for assurance that there won't be any more?
No, there is no for assurance that that won't happen, and that's the unfortunate reality. You're going to continue to see, when it comes to our infrastructure, erosion and problems because we have not invested. It's been a disinvestment of our infrastructure for decades. And with that being said, if you're not going to invest in something, to make it better, you're going to continue to try to figure out, okay, how do we just patch it up? How do we just, do things that we have the money that we're able to do to solve, a immediate problem as opposed to long-term problems. So there's no question about it. It's funding, and I think there's a lack of political courage, a lack of will on behalf of the legislature to come up with a true funding option and be honest with the public and tell them this is what we have to do to solve this problem. And looking at the numbers, statewide, you're talking about $4 or $5 billion need of funding for just roads alone, and that's not including or talking about what's happening in the underground. And that was a multi-million-dollar project as a result of, I guess, lack of attention.
And finally, because all of us, three of us here and all the nice people working the cameras here, we're going to be able to vote in the coming years. And probably all of you guys just want to know, will there be a governor run for Mark Hackel in the future?
It's interesting. I'm just glad you said that you will be able to vote, and I hope whoever's listening and the kids that are out there do vote, because your voice does matter. And if people get this impression it doesn't, pay attention, look at the people, get a feel for them, get to know who these candidates are. Don't do it just because of a partisan aspect. I say that because I don't look at it as a Democrat, Republican. I'm so tired of the bickering because it really solves nothing. Look at a candidate and make a determination. Are they willing to be a problem solver? Are they going to try to figure out how do they actually, resolve issues that are most problematic? When I was a student in high school, whatever, I never thought about running for student government because I thought, oh my God, people aren't going to vote for me. I was actually afraid to do it. And then along came this opportunity to run for sheriff. I did. I don't know what got underneath me to give me the courage to do it, but I did. Not thinking I would win, and I did. And I fell in love with that job. I adored it. Running for county executive was not of interest to me. But I looked at the people that were going to run, and I realized, wow, they want to run for it for the wrong reasons. It's more of that, oh my gosh, I want to be called the sheriff, or oh my God, I want to be the county executive. And I'm thinking, no, if you're going to run, have an understand not so much about winning an election, but the direction you want to take the county in. And so I decided that I didn't see that happening. I ran for county executive, was fortunate to get the incredible support of the public, and thought to myself, this isn't a partisan responsibility. This is a responsibility to do things people want you to do. Well, now having owned that for the last 7 years, I hear it a lot. People say you're going to run for governor. And quite honestly, like yourselves, it'd be one of those things where you're like, I still remember being in high school. What is it that people think that I would have the ability to be the governor of the state of Michigan? But then I look at the personalities that are running, and I look at the others that are out there and thinking, somebody's got to take ownership of the challenges that we're facing and be willing to accept the criticism of making decisions that are going to be tough decisions. And so I probably am going to be running for county executive again. But I say that with trepidation, and the reason is that because the more and more I hear what's coming out of Lansing, and the less and less satisfied I am with problem solving taking place, the more interested I am in saying, okay, quit complaining. If you're not going to take on responsibility, then quit complaining. And I'm one of those people that does not like to complain. I'd rather own something and try to make it better. So I don't know that I'm going to be running for governor anytime soon, but someday I think.
Right, to make a change
Make
in
a
the
difference.
state. Like you made a change from Macomb County as a sheriff, you're making a big change for the county, and let's hope that you can make a big change for the state.
We'll see someday, but you guys are the ones that are going to be able to make the change in the future. So don't sell yourself short. You got plenty of opportunities out there. Seek those opportunities, and if that becomes something of an interest to you, run for public office, but do something that's for public good, not for your own personal gain.
Yep. And that's our show for this week. And Mark, we appreciate you coming in.
Guys, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you
kidding
so
me?
much.
You bet. Good to
So
see you
much.
guys. You too, man.
And please join us next Tuesday as we have former Michigan State current Green Bay Launch Sniper Taker Pepper will be here with us to fill out all the matchups for the Big Answer tonight. So, again, Mark, we appreciate you coming in.